Okay, we'll go ahead and get started a few minutes early. Good morning and welcome to Frisco, Texas in the 2025 NCAA FCS Football Championship weekend. I'm Jim Powers. I'll be your moderator for all of the press conferences this weekend, and it's great to see everybody make the trip here to Frisco. Joining us first is the head coach from Montana State, Brent Vigen, and what a terrific year for them this year. Coach, we'll have you start us off with opening comments, and then we'll take some questions.
Absolutely. Well, it's great to be back down here. Thinking back 3 years ago, I think we were obviously happy to be here. We got on a little bit of a run there in the playoffs, coming in as the 8th seed. Certainly, I think learned a lot from that experience. Came up short that particular Saturday, and I think that set our program in a different trajectory. I think we had different expectations from that time moving forward. The last couple of years we've come up short. I think this group of seniors in particular, in coming up short and learning some hard lessons through their time. Started going to work really about this time last year when we got back to Bozeman for the second semester, and really did a great job day in, day out of putting their best foot forward. And I think that lesson, that way of going about our business has served us well through the course of this season. Getting into the playoffs, undefeated, the top seed, a lot different expectations, I think, just about where we were as a program, and to be at home and to rip off, 3, I think, really good wins, to put ourselves back in this position. Very grateful for the efforts of our team, our staff, and excited about the opportunity against a really good North Dakota State team that we'll see on Monday night. And they, in their own right, have gotten back here. I know the last couple of years with the coaching change and everything, and we've faced them a couple times. So my time here, I guess it's poetic that we're back facing them, at least on our side, the poetic piece. And excited about the opportunity. They're a very good team. They're very good in all aspects, and we'll have our hands full. And our guys are primed and ready to go at the same time.
Thank you so much, Coach. We'll go ahead and we will open it up for questions. We will have a microphone that will be passed around. When you do have the microphone, please give your name and your affiliation. And also for the folks that just came in a little bit late, just a reminder, there is no video to be shot while we are in the process of these interviews here in this interview room. So let's open it up for questions from our group. We'll start right here. Parker, go ahead. Just go ahead.
You got a couple guys on this team who were here the last time you were at this game, and you have a different group who is experiencing it for the first time. What have you asked for from those players in each of those separate groups on how to approach this week?
Yeah, our senior group, a lot of those guys, were on that field back in 22, the 21 team, and they were the young guys, and I think they're the guys that have learned the lessons through these last couple of years, and I think how they've just embodied how we've done everything doesn't all of a sudden create this new way of doing things for this game. This is the national championship game, but no matter who we've played, we've taken that opponent as the one that's in front of us, and I think that in itself, has served us well. I think our young guys have really taken to that. Now, in coming here, another situation where we have 2 weeks between games, but this is our 4th bye week essentially. So that part, the sequencing of the 2 weeks hasn't been any different. I think what our older guys continue to preach, probably as much as anything, hey, the trip down to Texas is great and all, but the game is what we're going down there for. And we've had a really business-like approach these first couple days down here, and again, it's not like we need to become something different on Monday night. We just have to become the best version of ourselves, and I think we've been able to do that time after time this year. So that's the task on Monday night.
Thank you, Mike. We're up front. Con right here, up front.
Victor Flores, 406 Empty Sports. I was curious what your thoughts on the Montana State DN matchup versus their All-American tackles. What do you kind of think of that matchup?
Yeah, it'll be really important. Zabel and Miller are two of the best in the FCS. obviously Zabel's a Senior Bowl invitee, and I think you flip that around. I would like to think Brody, Kenny in particular are two of the best defensive ends as well. So, what does that look like on first and second down? I think in the run game that'll be important, but then you get to obvious passing situations. That'll be a tall task for our guys, and I like to think it's a tall task for their guys too. So, not that it's going to come down to that, but I think how we fare in that matchup, first in the run game is really important. Those two players are really good in the run game, and I think our guys are too. So, look forward to it. It's one of the many matchups in this game that are going to make this game so good.
We'll come up here in the front, first row in the middle.
Hey, Brent. Greg Rockach from MTN Sports. Just can you talk about maybe the sense you get of how hungry this fan base is to finally snap this championship? It's been 40 years.
Yeah.
What kind of a sense do you get there?
Yeah, 40 years is a long time. And the 40-year reunion was this fall, and Kelly Bradley, who was the quarterback of that team, came up to me and said, this has been great and all for us, but we need a new team to be remembered. And I think that goes a long ways with just how our fan base has felt. Certainly a lot of ups and downs over the last 40 years. Recent history, quite a few ups, but just not quite getting over the hump. So I don't know that it's any added pressure by any means, but I think there's this continued momentum of our football program, and the fan base, I think, feels that at the same time. And these opportunities don't always come around just the way things line up. We've been fortunate to be in this game now 2 out of 4 years, but when you're here, you got to take advantage of it. So, I appreciate our fan base for their support on Saturdays in Bobcat Stadium. Those nine games. I know we played a Friday night in there too. It was phenomenal, and the support that continues on the financial side and needs to has been great. So, we're going the places we want to go. We're building the way we want to build, and this is where we want to be. So,
We'll keep it over on the right-hand side, third row. Go ahead, please.
Coach Corey Hogue, Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Curious your experience here since you and the team have been in Frisco, and also whether you'd like to see it return after the renovations are complete to the stadium.
Yeah, this is my 5th opportunity to coach in a game down here, and those first 3 were 11, 12, and 13. So for Frisco, in my eyes, to continue to embrace this, Frisco's grown tremendously in the last 15 years. So that's what I see. I see a community that's really embraced it. Our experience since we've been here has been, a lot of work and just out in the practice field. We did get to the Top Golf last night. I think the guys really enjoyed that. Had some Whataburger last night. I know wanting to settle the score between our West Coast guys with In-N-Out and Whataburger is always something we're arguing about. So I think that was a good score for the Texans last night. But no, I think to your point, I think it'll be interesting how the next couple years play, because it's certain, from my estimation, that this community has continued to embrace this opportunity to host this championship, and I think it certainly deserves a fair shake to get back here.
We'll go over here on the left, coach, third row.
Mike McFeely from the Forum. Brent, I know that you and your family are fully Montana State Bobcats now, and I mean, it's been a long time since you've been at NDSU, but there's still a lot of connections back there, and probably fair to say that if you guys happen to win on Monday night, there'll be some Bison fans who won't be as upset as if they lost to somebody else. They'd be happy for you. Just talk a little bit about, what NDSU has meant to you over the years and the connections there.
Yeah. Well, I was there 21 years between being a student athlete and a graduate assistant, a coach trying to make his way, and then ultimately a coordinator. So, and then that's where Molly went to school, played basketball. Our 3 sons were all born in Fargo. So it's our foundation, that region. I'm from 50 miles north. Molly's from 100 miles down the road towards Minneapolis. So, that place will always have a special place in our heart for sure. And the continued success is something that I know I certainly take great pride in. My time there as a student athlete, and then becoming a coach was this major transition through those 2 decades. I hope you see some progress over 2 decades, I guess. But to see the continued success, I know having a good friend and Tim being back there as a head coach, to see him have success. A couple guys on that staff that I recruited, and Grant and Carlton. Chris's son Devin's back there, Gene's son, Jared's back there. So a lot of ties, and my old teammates, we stay in touch from the '97 crew, and I know it's the fact that we're back again playing them. I don't know for me if that's the way it was supposed to be or not, but they're one of the better teams out there. So if we're going to be here, we're probably facing them at the end of the day, and look forward to going out there and competing. But yeah, obviously a special place to me and my family.
We'll keep it over here on the left, Coach, second row.
Coach John Rainey, SWX Montana. Kind of going off that, being in both states, what do you think lends itself to those states, and you could throw in South Dakota, kind of being so good at FCS football?
Well, it's 3 states. It's a lot of area that FCS is the top level, and there's no pro sports in any of the 3 states. I do think high school football is really valued in all 3 states, and I think the competitive drive that each of the states have. We have it within our state with the University of Montana. I know the 4 schools between the Dakotas. There's a lot that drives each other. So I think all those pieces, and then I think absolutely prideful, humble people from all 3 of those states that are going to do everything they can to see their school do well. So the support that we all get. That's not just fans in the stands. That's, people really stepping up to be competitive, to do everything they can to help us, do everything we can on the field. I think that's all part of it. So we're in this pocket of our country where FCS football is king, and I think that in itself is a huge driving force. And it's not to say that there's a world that we couldn't all compete at a higher level, but where we're at right now, we're competing at the highest level we can, and I think that's always going to be the expectation, for us at Montana State, and that's why it's a great place to be.
Okay, we got time for a few more questions. We'll go on the right-hand side.
Brandon Sullivan, Montana Television Network. Brent, can you talk about, this has been kind of a wild ride over the last few years for you, and then this season being undefeated, and can you talk about this group of players, your relationship with them, and what it has meant to you? So many of these guys like Tommy and Brody and all these guys who are not going to be here as you move forward, what they've meant to you, and what this particular group has meant to you, and the culture that you guys have built?
Yeah, first time through, it was less than a year in the making, and that group awfully very special to me. How they embraced our new staff, of which a lot of guys were holdovers in that staff, but that group did a great job of transitioning and believing in what we were doing. Now this group, they were the young guys on that team, so 14 of them were on that initial roster that we took over in February of 21. So these guys and our journey, my journey, have all coincided here at Montana State. Their growth, our continuing to build this program has all happened together, and very fortunate. It's such a special group of young men. I think the selflessness that this group has collectively is probably unlike any team I've ever been around. And I've been around some really good teams that had plenty of it, but this group. And not only the seniors and the way they've embraced their role and embodied their role and done everything they can, their ability to express that view to our younger players is what you're looking for in a program, because those guys, to your point, they're gonna be done on Monday. So we need the next group of guys like them to emerge, and that's what I see happening in our program. A lot of good young guys that they've seen how it should look, and that's what allows for continued success. And in this day and age in college football, rare, very rare. So to say we have it, and we're not going to be perfect, we're going to still lose some guys over time, but to say we have that and can continue to have it is a comforting feeling, because those guys have clearly laid the foundation. We're going to be forever indebted to them. They're going to go down and have laid a legacy maybe unlike any other group in Montana State football history.
Okay, we have time for one more. Third row on the left.
Brent, Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo. You've coached or recruited Brock Jensen, Carson Wentz, Josh Allen. What sets Tommy Mellott apart from those guys, and what similarities do you have with those other guys?
Yeah, I'll speak to similarities first. I think the competitive drive, the belief that they're not going to tell anybody how good they can be. They're going to become as good as they possibly can. I think that's the consistent piece, the competitive nature and the ability to get everything they can out of their ability. Certainly, Tommy is of a different stature. Tommy would win a race, I know for sure, amongst all those guys. He's as quick as anybody on our team, and he's on the football field as fast as anybody on our football team. Now, along with that stature piece, he's got to do it a little bit differently just because of that. And I think he's continued to reach his heights because there's that same common thread of not being satisfied in anything. I know when we lost that game last year to end our season, that was the best he had played quarterback. And we had to really point that out. I mean, I think he still had aspirations to how far could this go, and you really had to. He's so humble at the same time. So I don't know. They all have a lot of similarities in just who they are inside, how they've been raised. Hardest working guys on the team. I think those are the common threads. But I think his stature, his game, his running ability is on a different level.
Great. Thank you so much, Coach. A couple of housekeeping items real quick, and the schedule for the remainder of the day. We'll head upstairs at this time to the area overlooking the field. We'll have 8 student athletes from Montana State that'll be joining us. You've got the email with what 8 are going to be up there available for availability. Please, a reminder, we will be coming around at 10:10. That's a hard out because we've got to get these young men out to practice so Coach can not yell at us and we can get them out there ready to go. So we want to make sure we know that. Media lunch will be at 10:30 in the Winners Club. And also at 10:15, we'll have Chairman of the FCS Committee, Matt Larson, and Vice Chair Mark Wharton available here for some questions, concerning the championship and all of that great stuff. Okay, Coach, thank you so much. Good luck on Monday.